is so important because pruning is what determines fruit quantity and quality. If we have too much quantity, too much volume, quality suffers. Here we have a cane that is improperly positioned. It was left too long last year. So we're going to do some radical pruning here. We're going to remove all of this growth. All of this is removed. Okay? So we remove that, and this guy will push out a new bud right here, hopefully. Lord willing, we'll see a bud right here that'll push out. So what we've done so far is we've decreased a great deal of the growth here from last year. This is new wood that we're looking at. We can look at the wood and tell that it's new wood. This is last year's wood. This is canes from this 2011. And so we've decreased a lot, so we've got quite a few buds. Every bud is going to produce 2 to 3 bunches of fruit. There's probably 3 buds right here. 1, 2, 3, at least. It's amazing how, I mean, there's little buds all around this base. You know, now, yeah, some of the buds will produce and some of them won't. And for whatever the reasons may be, the vine just decides not to push certain buds. Some of them may get nicked through the pruning process. But there's buds here in this little bitty section that we know are capable of pushing out. And if they all did, there's probably 8 little buds in this little bitty section right here. Now, all of these buds, theoretically, hopefully, each bud will produce 2 to 3 bunches. So we have 2, 4, 6, I say 2, 4 is what's on the other side, 6, 8 bunches of fruit sitting right here. Okay, and I say sitting right here, this one will push out, there'll be 2 bunches, approximately in this zone. This one will push out, there'll be 2 more bunches, somewhere in this zone, right in here. This one over here, 2 more bunches over here. That's pretty spread out. Okay, and we want the fruit to be spread out. I'm just saying that this is an ideal situation where the buds are spread out, so we'll get good production. These vines are capable of producing a lot of fruit. The primary recipe for wine quality is vine balance. So we look back at the vine and kind of analyze what does this vine look like in relationship to, you know, how mature it is, the size of the trunk. Can this vine, you want to ask, can this vine handle the amount of fruit that we're asking it to produce this year? Little grapes that are missing, and then you can see all along the ground. You can see the bird damage down there on the ground. You see the few grapes that are down on the ground. And then we do this all over the vineyard. We're going to get back on the golf cart and go to some other sections. We want to be real careful that the netting is down after we're done doing this. Otherwise, we'll have more bird damage. Look how pretty that is. Is that pretty or what? We're going to grab one from the middle, from the bottom, one from the middle, and let's go for one at the top of the bunch. That hopefully represent the whole block. That's what we're trying to do. So we hit a row here, grab a few grapes here and there and back and forth. And you can see the different degrees of maturity based on the different colors. Light green and a more darker yellow. A little bit in between. So the berries, that's representing various degrees of grape maturity. As we get closer and closer to harvest, the birds get more and more aggressive in terms of wanting to get the grapes. Just as we want the grapes, so do the birds. The sugar levels begin to increase, the acid levels come down, they become more and more desirable for the birds and of course for us, for winemaking. And as they do want them, they do various levels of damage. And the bird netting we find is the most effectual manner of preventing crop damage.
Jeff is a pretty industrious type of fella, and when he sets his mind to do something, I know he's thought it over really, really deeply and fully. So when he's made up his mind, I know he's looked at all the different aspects and feel like it's the thing. He doesn't do anything impetuously.
We came and looked at the property together with the home, although the home was not as desirable as the property, but we did find that there was some nice, deep, sandy soils here. That's something that we look for, is a good sandy loam. There's a little more sand here than we might prefer, but you'd prefer to have more sand, a higher imbalance of sand than clay. We actually went through and took samples all over the property and brought them to LSU and had them analyzed.
Now, I'd like to say something about Libby. Jeff could have never, ever accomplished what he has accomplished without his wife. I cannot speak highly enough to say that she has gone beyond in having a family as well.
Jeff grew up in Luling. His dad worked at Monsanto chemical plant, so he lived more in a subdivision type atmosphere. We met at Hornville High School and have been together for 28 years now.
Jeff could not have been blessed with a better spouse than Libby. You know, they both have that in common in that they are hard workers. And Jeff had a vision, and I gathered it was Jeff's vision more than Libby's vision, but it turned out where, she just went for it.
So he had a desire for farming and agriculture. One day we headed out with some friends and we were looking for a blueberry farm, and we ran across another vineyard and winery. And he went in and started talking to the guy, and he decided that that's what he wanted to do, grow grapes. We came home and he started on the internet looking for equipment to purchase and wire to buy and plants to grow, and I told him, "You're crazy. You are absolutely crazy. You've lost your mind. I don't want to do this. This is too much work, hard work." And he was gung-ho, and so we planted an acre of Blanc du Bois in Folsom, and then shortly thereafter he said, "Let's plant another acre," and so we did. And then we had an acre of red grapes he decided to grow, Cynthiana Norton. And it came 3 years later, it came time to harvest.
They wanted to do something that the family could be involved in, and the boys grew up around work and knowing how to work, not only their school work, but physical work and learning work ethics and how to do something properly. And it's been something that has held the family together too, I think.
Me, my mom, and my dad, we all started this thing, and it was a tremendous, tremendous job. I looked at my dad when we first started this, and I was like, wow, really, you want to start a vineyard? And never really thought about it, and we never really knew what it entailed. So once we started it, it turned out to be a little bitty project to a multi-year, always working. My parents, we started homeschooling, and my dad, we started working on it every single day, every single Saturday, Sunday evenings, we would go out in the vineyard and we work.
What did I not do is the question. It's a full contact business. It took the hard work from everybody, from the planting to preparing to plant, to the planting to preparing the vines, maintaining, and all the way down to the winemaking process. We were all very involved in the process.
Sure.
So learned a lot.
Favorite part is working with the stuff, which we have the crusher, we have the crusher and the stemmer, and we have the bladder press, and we have our milk tanks, which were originally used by dairy farmers, but they gave it to us because they're perfect for winemaking.
We've been growing, the vineyard's been growing for 12 years. The wines have been out for about 9. The other vineyard is located in Folsom, which we're still maintaining. We've only been here in West Monroe for 5 years.
I've been doing it for 13 years, since I was about 1 year old. I've been trying to help my dad, and with the vineyard, I've been trying to study what he's doing, and so then I could take over the winery one day. But everything is my favorite, because even though it might not be my favorite to me, but when you're doing the work, it turns out sometimes it'll be fun, because next year we might be having a picker that picks it itself, and then we don't have to do much work, but I like to work.
From the first time I came here and I looked out of the window in her living room over the little rolling hills, and I just got such a feeling of peace and serenity, and I said, this is where I want to be. And it must have been in God's plan, because everything just fell into place for me.
And it was, I guess, a God thing that we was this close together, because a lot of times we spend time helping him as well as our other son with his businesses and all.
Once we decided on this home, we went and located where they were purchasing the land to realize it was just a few miles away. So we knew that was another confirmation that God wanted us here.
The morning of or the afternoon before we're going to harvest, they pull the netting off. Jeff and a couple of young boys get out there and take the netting off so that we're able to start picking bright and early. Typically between 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning, we'll start harvesting.
It's the Blanc du Bois grape. And here's to 2011 vintage. That's good. Sweet, good flavor. That's good.
I just like the way that they've involved the community in their business, and anyway, when I told my daughter about it, she wanted to come out and pick along with me, I guess.
I love grapes and I love wine, and the weather's beautiful.
Some people from Ville Platte are picking right next to me. They came all the way up from Ville Platte.
The Harvest Festival is a great time where we really invite the public to come out and help us with harvest. There's a lot going on in Louisiana involving agritourism. LSU and other organizations are really promoting agritourism. Well, this is something that has been practiced throughout the country for many years, where wineries ask the public to come out and be a part of their harvest. Now, it serves more than one purpose. The first purpose it serves is getting the grapes out of the field. But then there's also sometimes perhaps even an equally important part, and that is tying the community into the harvest and helping them to be a part of bringing the grapes in for the vintage year.
So you take the snips. Let's find us a clump of grapes. Where's a good clump, Aaron? Oh, I see one. And you go right to the edge of the stem. Go ahead and clip it for us, Aaron. Right here. Oh, you're getting that one? There you go. And then where do you put it, Aaron? Just drop it in the bucket.
It's a great time. It's a time for families to come out and experience something that, especially here in Louisiana, otherwise they never have the opportunity to do. So they can be a part of that vintage and later on participate in enjoying that vintage. And it's such a blessing to be able to experience it from their standpoint, from grapes all the way to wine. So what a good time. The public just loves it. They pour out, and we'll have over 100 or so people. We feed them. The food is free, and they're donating their labor and their love towards us, and we really appreciate it. So it's a good time.
I love it. This is fun. It's kind of sweaty, but it's all for the cause.
The Lord was so wonderful today. He made it overcast for us. So we just thank Him for the blessing of no hot sun.
You look good in the bushes.
I know. That's especially why I'm in the bush, to hide the beautiful hairdo.
Giving each other work can put friends into becoming friendship. It can actually bring people together.
It's community, and that's what makes it so special and different and fun. And that I look forward to that aspect of it every year. It's just a lot of fun because it's a time of gathering together, working together, and sharing.
My hair fell into my mouth, and it was so sweet. Tasted like grapes.
The people here are very, very friendly. They're so sweet. They thank you for everything, even in the little quick marts you stop, and they'll say, "We appreciate you." And I thought that was so cute from the beginning.
People are just different, and we couldn't figure it out until my sister, who married a man from Bossier City, and well, actually plain dealing, and she said, "Well, that's because you're in Bible Belt." And I said, "Well, what does that have to do with it?" And she said, "Well, they're real strong in the Word, and that's what makes them different." And from that day on, we thought, oh, what a neat place to live.
Never seen none of this, and I wanted to experience picking grapes. This is awesome. I love it.
I think it's kind of cool. It's different than what I thought it would be, you know, and it's not hard. It's just time consuming. It's fun. enjoying it.
But it's also hard in the sense that it is hot. It's not hard to snip a cluster of fruit, put it in the bucket, dump the bucket when it's full. It's just the heat factor is what really plays a toll on the body. But typically, it'll take us about 3 days of working about 4 or 5 hours each day picking the fruit. And then once it's brought into the winery, then you still have the processing to do. So that's pretty much an 8-hour job each day till completion, cleaning up, till that's completely done. When you come across a really nice big cluster of fruit and you go, wow, look what God has created. It's only of His hands that can make that. And we do apply a lot of hands-on labor as well, but ultimately when you see that big cluster of grapes and they taste delicious, and I think that that's an awe factor for me.
Now the red grapes are handled differently than the white grapes. The red grapes are crushed and then placed, with the juice and the skins are placed into the tank and fermented on the skins. Now this is a neat part where the fermentation occurs on the skins and gives off all kind of neat aromas, and as a winemaker, it's a pleasure to be a part of this process. Every morning and evening, we press down the cap as it's fermenting. The skins float to the surface of the grapes, of the must, and so we punch it back down into the wine. And what in the process that's really neat about it is it's leaching all that good stuff out of the skins. Very first benefit that we really should consider is just relaxing, taking time to sit with another person. Wine is a communal drink. It should be enjoyed together with other people or another person. So the first aspect, the first medicine that to me is the most important of all is stopping, resting, and communing with someone, enjoying the company of another person. That's medicine in itself. We don't take that enough into consideration. So the answer is drink lots of good red wine.
So I reflect on what Mom had said. It was in him from way back that he had to do something with the soil to produce. And he did.